Summing up the hard facts we have about Ross's master: identity, unknown, referred to only as master. No name, no face yet. Characters use gender-neutral references when discussing this being, which keeps things ambiguous. Nature, a celestial being. This implies the master is not an ordinary mortal, but something akin to a god, spirit, or primordial entity. The master exists on a higher plane, explaining the telepathy and cosmic voice. The term celestial also evokes images of stars, the heavens, or astral entities. Location: resides in the Cauldron of Realms. This place is not a typical realm, but rather a mysterious crucible connected to all realms. It's been described metaphorically as a forge of realms. The cauldron might be where realm energies mix, a fitting hideout for someone trying to undo the merge. Notably, Ross threatened to bring others to the cauldron to fulfill his master's will, implying the master can possibly pull individuals into that space when needed. Power and abilities: off the charts. Ross's master can teleport people and objects across great distances in an instant. They can communicate across realms, seemingly at will, via visions or astral projection. The master's presence is often accompanied by a golden glow or lightning-like energy, as observed by characters who saw Ross talking to them. The fact that subtitles label the voice as celestial noise means even the sound is beyond normal human or creature speech. Additionally, this being has deep knowledge of ancient rituals, like the Blood Moon ritual, and artifacts, like dragon icons and the merge itself, suggesting they've been around for a very long time. Ross's relationship with the master: absolute loyalty tinged with fear. Ross sees this entity as his savior and teacher, having been rescued as a child, and as someone to whom he owes everything. He consistently addresses them with respect. "Yes, my master," and is terrified of failure. Ross's personality is proud and arrogant with others, but when it comes to his master, he becomes almost submissive. This dynamic tells us the master commands authority even over a fearsome warrior like Ross. We've also seen that the master does not tolerate failure. They rebuke Ross harshly for setbacks, which only makes Ross redouble his efforts. In essence, Ross is both a devoted disciple and a pawn in this being's grand plan. Goal: motivation: harness the source, dragon's energy, and reverse the merge. Let's unpack this. The source dragons are 7 ancient dragons, each tied to fundamental elements: energy, lightning, earth, etc., including a unique one for balance. They essentially uphold the balance of power in the realms. By dominating or capturing these dragons, one could siphon their elemental energy. Ross's master apparently needs that energy. Why? To gain supremacy over the merged realms, and specifically to undo the merge that combined them. Reversing the merge could mean separating the realms again or otherwise reshaping reality. We don't know if the master wants this out of some sense of setting things right, or simply to rule a universe of separate realms. But given their villainous methods, it's likely about power and control. If all realms split apart again, the chaos could be unimaginable, and perhaps the master intends to emerge as a godlike ruler over the fragmented worlds. Why reverse the merge? This is speculative, but we can infer a few possibilities. The merge might have somehow weakened this being or threatened their domain, so they want to undo it to regain lost power. Alternatively, the master could be from a realm that suffered in the merge, or a realm entity that merged with others and lost its identity. Thus, they seek to restore what was. For example, if the master were a guardian of a particular realm, or the embodiment of it, they might resent the new combined world and want to bring back their old realm's supremacy. We'll touch more on this in theories, but keep this motivation in mind, especially when we discuss the mother-son theory relating to a particular realm's deity. Importantly, one clue suggests the master might not be one of the source dragons themselves. Ross specifically talks about conquering the source dragons for his master. If the master were a source dragon, why would they need to conquer their own kind? They would presumably already have that power. As one fan pointed out, the fact that Ross's mission is literally to subdue all source dragons hints that the master could be a different kind of entity entirely. Of course, a crafty rogue dragon might use a minion to take down its brethren. We'll examine that possibility, but the wording strongly implies an external force. To summarize, Ross's master is shaping up to be a cosmic-level villain, an ancient celestial being from the Cauldron of Realms with knowledge of forbidden rituals and the ability to warp reality. This puppet master has been quietly operating behind the scenes, using Ross to do the dirty work of gathering power. Now the question is, who exactly is this celestial being? Is it someone we've met before or heard of in Ninjago lore, or a completely new antagonist? And how might Season 4 pull back the curtain on this mystery? Before jumping into full-on theories, let's consider a few additional hints and official tidbits that might foreshadow the master's identity. The flashback glow. In the flashback of young Ross being saved, Season 2, the being that rescues him is depicted only as a bright glow. This glow had a golden-white color, and Ross looked up at it in awe. Golden or bright light is often associated with entities of light, or maybe the sun. This visual foreshadowing keeps the master literally in the light and obscured. Some fans noted that it parallels how certain godlike beings have been shown in Ninjago's past. For example, the first Zenitsu master was sometimes represented as a golden light or dragon. Celestial, sun, and sky imagery. The word celestial suggests stars or heavenly bodies. Interestingly, within the Dragon's Rising storyline, eagle-eyed viewers spotted a strange, glowing object in the sky of the merged world. Basically, a bright orb often visible in the background, separate from the normal sun. Characters in the show never explicitly mention it, but it's there. This led to a tongue-in-cheek fan theory that this creepy glowing thing in the sky might actually be Ross's master, watching from above. One humorous post pointed out that this object seems to emit light and even goes to sleep at night, disappears when the sun sets, jokingly suggesting it's alive. While these observations were made in jest, it does raise an eyebrow. Could the show have a literal celestial body, like a second sun or a comet, acting as a clue? Perhaps not literally the master itself, but it could be related to them. For instance, an artifact or manifestation of their power in the sky. At the very least, the writers choosing the word celestial for the master was deliberate and keeps the imagery of something beyond Earth. Chima's mother-son, cross-world lore. Here's an interesting connection outside Ninjago's main story, LEGO's Legends of Chima. You might wonder, why bring up Chima? In Dragon's Rising, realms from other LEGO worlds, like Chima, a world of anthropomorphic animal tribes, might have merged into the new world. Ross himself, a humanoid tiger, could be evidence of the Chima universe's influence, since Chima had a tiger tribe. In Chima's lore, there's a deity known as the Mother Sun, described as a mysterious being in the sky whose actions led to the creation of the land. Essentially, Mother Sun was a godlike figure in the Chima universe. Some fans have speculated that if the Chima realm, sometimes referred to as the Wildness, merged into Ninjago's world, Mother Sun could have survived as a powerful entity. In fact, one theory suggests that Ross's master is this Mother Sun, displaced by the merge and now seeking to regain power. The evidence? Ross's backstory flashback in the Forest of Spirits might have been set in the Wildness, Chima, and a glowing being saved him, which could be Mother Sun. Moreover, Ross was instructed to free the Forbidden Five, who might be ancient Chima villains, and perform the Blood Moon ritual, which a primeval being like Mother Sun might remember or desire. Mother Sun, being a celestial sun entity, fits the description of a realm entity, similar in status to the preeminent from the Cursed Realm in older seasons. It would make sense for a god from one realm to try conquering all realms after they merged, as the theory argues. Now, important caveat, Mother Sun has not been explicitly mentioned in Dragon's Rising on screen. This is extrapolated lore. One fan even asked, where is this Mother Sun talked about in the show, noting they only saw it on the Chima wiki. So, if the writers plan to use this concept, they've kept it very subtle so far, perhaps to avoid confusing viewers who haven't seen Chima. Still, the Chima connection is a fascinating possibility that the most hardcore lore buffs are watching closely. Dialogue and writings. The show's writers, Doc Wyatt and others, have interacted with fans online and dropped small hints without spoiling future reveals. For instance, they clarified that the Cauldron of Realms isn't a normal place like the other realms. It sounds almost like an outside of time space. This suggests the master might not be constrained by the same rules as other beings. There was also a tease that the word meat might not describe Ross's master's relationship to the source dragons, hinting it might be something like created instead, implying the master could even be responsible for creating or managing the source dragons. These hints are cryptic, but add to the notion that the master is either on par with the source dragons or above them in some hierarchy. The number of dragons. Mystery. In Season 3, there was an intriguing inconsistency noted in story. Sometimes characters talk as if there are 7 source dragons, but we learn one, the Dragon of Balance, was supposedly slain, which would leave 6. Yet Ross and others still refer to needing all 7, perhaps unaware one is gone. This could be a simple case of characters not knowing the truth, or it could be foreshadowing that the dead 7th dragon, Balance, is not gone after all. Keep this in mind. It ties into one major theory we'll discuss. Ross himself has history with the source dragons. He encountered one before arriving in Imperium, as revealed in a flashback in Absolute Power, and he successfully forged 2 dragon icons, energy and strength, over time. Yet, when confronted with a living source dragon like Thunderfang, Ross doesn't exhibit elemental powers, implying he isn't an elemental master himself, just extraordinarily strong. The confusion around the number of dragons and Ross's interactions with them might be setting the stage for a big twist regarding the master's identity or nature, as we'll theorize next. With the factual groundwork laid and these additional hints noted, it's time to venture into the realm of theories and speculation. Remember, these are not confirmed, but they're grounded in the clues we've discussed. We'll explore the top theories on who Ross's master could be, weighing how each fits the evidence. This is the fun part for Ninjago fans, so let's dig in. Based on all the clues, fans have proposed several compelling theories about the true identity of Ross's master. We'll go through the most popular and interesting ones, from those rooted in established lore to more out there ideas. Keep in mind, Season 4 might confirm one of these or surprise us with with something entirely new. For now, these theories serve as educated guesses and fun possibilities. Theory 1. The Overlord's Return. One of the first guesses many longtime fans had been that Ross's master is the Overlord, the classic embodiment of evil from the original Ninjago series. The Overlord was a dark spirit that battled the first Spinjitzu master and later possessed Garmadon and even created the Golden Master. He was seemingly destroyed multiple times, last seen in the older seasons. However, as one fan pointed out, the Overlord's spirit might still exist since only his physical form was defeated. Overlord is obsessed with power and ruling all realms, which could align with Ross's master's goals. He also has a penchant for using generals and lieutenants to do his bidding, much like Ross's role. Overlord wielding dark celestial powers isn't a huge stretch. He did manifest as a giant dark dragon and a digital virus in past iterations. If the Overlord survived the merge, he could be rebuilding his strength in the shadows, using Ross to gather the Source Dragon's power, something even the Overlord never had access to before. How well does this fit? The Overlord being called a celestial being is a bit off. He's more of a shadowy, demonic being. Also, older Ninjago villains haven't been directly referenced in Dragon's Rising yet. It would be a wild twist to tie the new series back to the Overlord. Some fans are lukewarm on this theory, feeling it would be repetitive if the Overlord returned yet again. Still, it's a theory that lingers because the Overlord is essentially immortal evil, and if anyone would want to conquer all realms and undo a reality not of his making, it'd be him. Until we get more concrete hints, the Overlord remains a possibility, albeit not the strongest one in light of current evidence. Theory 2. The first Spinjitzu master, FSM, gone rogue. Now here's a shocking idea. What if Ross's master is actually the first Spinjitzu master himself? The FSM is the legendary creator of Ninjago, Lloyd's grandfather, and father to Wu and Garmadon. He was a being of immense power who forged the original realm and shared his power via the golden weapons. According to one fan's wild theory, the FSM could fit the description. He's often associated with golden light. Remember, Ross's master appears as golden light and has a connection to the realms. The theory speculates that maybe the FSM, after creating the 16 realms, at some point caused an anti-merge, separating them, in the past, meaning he could desire to undo the merge now if he somehow returned. Additionally, there's a thematic element. In Dragon's Rising, Master Wu, FSM's son, repeatedly worried about becoming like his father, or repeating his father's mistakes, which could be foreshadowing. If Lloyd feared turning into Garmadon, his father, Wu feared turning into FSM, his father. An interesting parallel. Why would the FSM be evil now? Perhaps he isn't evil per se, but imagine if merging the realms went against the natural order he established. He might take extreme measures to fix it, making him an inadvertent antagonist. Or, a darker angle, maybe an imposter posing as the FSM's spirit could be manipulating Ross. However, there's scant direct evidence for this theory in the show. It largely stems from meta clues and irony, the ultimate creator becoming a villain. It would be a bold twist that ties deeply into Ninjago's mythology. If it turned out true, Season 4's reveal would blow fans' minds, as the ninja would be facing essentially their grandfather figure as an enemy. It's a long shot, but not impossible in a story about realms and creation. Theory 3. An evil source dragon, strength or balance. Another prevalent theory is that Ross's master is one of the 7 source dragons, the primordial dragons introduced in Dragon's Rising. Specifically, 2 candidates get mentioned, the source dragon of strength or the source dragon of balance. Let's examine each. Source dragon of strength. At first glance, this seems logical. Ross's whole motif is strength. His master taught him the ways of strength. Ross's iconic weapon is the icon of the strength dragon, a hammer likely gifted or guided by his master. Perhaps the strength dragon decided to take a paw or claw in worldly affairs and took Ross under its wing. It's been noted that the strength dragon in lore is very self-obsessed and could be scheming to become the most powerful of all dragons. If Ross's master were the strength dragon, it explains the focus on strength as an element. Furthermore, one Reddit comment theorized that Ross's elemental affinity might actually be strength, inherited from an ancestor, which would connect him to that dragon. However, there are counterpoints. As a fan pointed out, if the strength dragon was Ross's master, why would Ross need to forge a strength icon to summon it? If his master is that dragon, the dragon could presumably appear or speak to Ross directly without needing an intermediary icon. And indeed, Ross did not summon the strength dragon in the show. He kept the icon unused until later. It suggests the strength dragon might have been inaccessible or unwilling. Odd if it were his master. It could be that the strength dragon is imprisoned or needed Ross to act on its behalf, but the theory isn't airtight. Still, the idea remains plausible and is one of the simpler explanations. No new characters needed, just reveal an existing great dragon as the villain. Source dragon of balance. This theory has gained a lot of traction due to some clever observations. Recall how one of the source dragons, Balance, was said to have been slain by mortals before the merge. Yet, confusingly, its spirit still appeared with the others to Lloyd, and characters like Raz Ras speak as if all 7 dragons need to be dealt with. What if the balanced dragon isn't dead at all, but went into hiding, specifically hiding as Ras's master? One fan theory proposes exactly this. Ras's master is the source dragon of balance, who faked his death to work in secret. In this scenario, the balanced dragon was the first source dragon Ras encountered in his youth, hence saving Ras in the valley. By faking its demise, the balanced dragon could operate from the shadows, e.g. in the Cauldron of Realms, without the other dragons suspecting. Its goal? Perhaps Balance grew resentful or power-hungry and decided to eliminate the other 6 source dragons to absorb their power. This fits with the Master's plan, using Ras to forge dragon icons to force the other dragons out into the open where they can be captured or killed, since in their own void, their sanctuary, the dragons are nearly invincible. Once the other dragons are taken down one by one, the rogue balanced dragon could then combine all their energies with his own, becoming all-powerful. This theory neatly explains a lot. The Master needing Ras to do the groundwork because one dragon alone can't take on 6 others directly. The knowledge of how to forge icons and perform rituals, a source dragon would know these. And the emphasis on the merge. The dragons might not have liked the merge either. It even explains the number discrepancy with the dragons, which might be a deliberate storytelling element, not a mistake. The balance equals master theory is one of the most compelling and evidence-backed ideas so far. If true, Season 4's reveal would pit the ninja not just against an abstract entity, but against a betrayer among the source dragons, which would be a huge twist in the lore. We also have to consider the poetic angle. Balance turning evil would be ironic, as it's supposed to represent equilibrium. Perhaps losing balance is a thematic representation of how the merge upset the natural order, driving even the balanced dragon to madness or villainy. In weighing strength versus balance, the balance theory currently has more narrative weight behind it, the whole fake death plot and being the first Ras met. The strength dragon theory could still hold if the writers keep it straightforward. Maybe the strength dragon simply wants to eliminate competition. However, the question remains why the Master didn't just reveal itself or act more directly if it were a source dragon. The balanced dragon hiding makes more sense than the strength dragon staying in Cauldron doing nothing. Regardless, both theories firmly put a source dragon as the mastermind, which aligns with the celestial being description. Source dragons are basically gods in this context. Notably, some fans argued against the Master being any source dragon at all, pointing again to the fact that Ras's mission is to conquer the source dragons, implying the Master is separate. But a clever traitor could still want to conquer his brethren. We'll have to see if Season 4 drops more hints pointing to one specific dragon. That's going to be the end of Part 2 of Ras's Master Revealed. Stay tuned, because Part 3 will be coming out soon, where we will finish diving into theories and predictions. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss out on future videos.